I'm Dr. Duke, and I'm joined today by Gabe Blomgren, from Covenant Church, the assistant pastor at Covenant Church in Spokane, Washington. Gabe, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, it's an honor, Duke. Thanks for having me.
I want to talk first about your podcast that's growing. It's very influential. Love the things that you guys put out. It's called Church and State, the podcast. And you pair with Caleb Collier, who is a field guy for the John Birch Society. And as you might imagine, we have a pastor and we have a John Birch organizer talking about church and state issues. Talk a little bit about the podcast. Where'd you guys get the idea from it and for it, and how has it been going?
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to say I'm a John Birch Society member, so I'm passionate about what the John Birch Society is doing. So it was an easy connection for us. And but 3 years ago, I met Caleb. Well, even longer than that. We were both working at the United States Postal Service, and I was still pastoring, and but he was not in any type of political sphere yet. But we would listen all day long to all kinds of different political sites while we were delivering mail, just listening to podcasts. And then we'd call and talk to each other for like probably 4 hours on the phone while we're delivering mail. And we would just say all the time, hey, it would be cool if we had our own podcast someday. And eventually, after he ran for political office, his second term, he actually did not win. The Valley went liberal. It was very sad. We had a poor turning for the Spokane Valley in that election, and the conservative Christian kind of community really was suffering from the loss of Caleb on their city council. But him and I, after he licked his wounds, he said, dude, we should start a radio show / podcast. And I was like, okay, let's do it. I prayed about it, and I just thought a concept of church and state, we've, as a nation, completely been lost. This is, a very skewed look from Thomas Jefferson back in the day. It's not even the Constitution. I'm sure you know, Dr. Duke. But we wanted to have a political show where we could mix the subjects that are usually oil and water. You can't talk about religion at the dinner table along with politics. This is kind of like the thing you can't do. But we wanted to put those two things right together, me being a pastor, him having a passion for the Constitution, and being just basically a politician at heart.
What's the best way for our audience to access Church and State?
So right now, if you were to go on Facebook and just type in at Church and State 1776, you would find us very easily, and we upload every single episode onto Facebook. We also are right now we have a YouTube where if you subscribe, if you were to turn in and just type in Church and State, you will find us on YouTube. So there's two ways there. We're also building a podcast site on our website. So we have different ways to find us, but I'd say right now the best way is Facebook.
Sounds great. And I know you and Caleb and Representative Matt Shea, right? That's a powerful threesome right there. You guys all attended recently and spoke at the Freedom is the Cure rally in Spokane. Now, It's my understanding, you can tell me if I'm wrong, that historically the Spokane Valley area has been the more conservative part of the state of Washington, but that's now changing, you think, over the last few years?
Yeah, I think what has happened is we have had slow just creeping in of what I would say rhino characters who appear to be conservative, but they're connected to indivisible groups. They're also what I would say Christian in name only kind of candidates, but they are not concerned about like any kind of moral kind of Christian actual code, So I think what's going on is a lot of people are being duped, and we're seeing slowly the Valley, yes, become more and more liberal. It was conservative. It was a very strong city council. It was, I think, 5 or 6-1, but now it's the other way around now, Duke. And then, of course, the Spokane City Council is very liberal. There's only one conservative Christian, and he, I would say, is basically a rhino as well. So
right, I've seen this in places like Idaho as well. A lot of the mid northern states, they're like Montana, where you almost have to be Christian and speak conservative to get elected. And once you do, you're basically Democrats and Republican disguise, so to speak. So that is sad. It's unfortunate. I hope that you guys are able to push back against that a little bit, and tell us a little bit about the Freedom is the Cure rally as one of the things that might push back a little bit. What were the topics and what was the reception of your message?
Well, as you know, it was Rule of Law Day. As the liberals, they wanted to own that kind of day and call it May Day, but Rule of Law Day is the day that we did it on. And Freedom is the Cure is basically us saying that we have to get back to work. Jay Inslee, the governor of Washington, is trying to extend, and he has extended. I don't think it's constitutional or legal, but he had 30 days of a state of emergency enacted in the state of Washington based on the COVID-19 virus. And it has definitely hurt Spokane community. It has definitely hurt Spokane businesses. Many businesses are going out of business. So I was kind of thinking that with all the social money that's been thrown at these businesses through PPP and through various other ways to get money from the government, I thought a lot of these businesses were going to be kind of subdued and not concerned, but that's not the case. We had 2,000 plus people out there. And I want to say they're livid sometimes. So these people were energized. They are tired of what's going on. They are ready to get back to work. And we had probably 90% Christian speakers. So we were talking about Jesus Christ. We had Reverend Matthew Cummings. I don't know if you know him. He's from the kind of Marble community that's been skewed as being racist. And he's a black pastor who lives up in Marble. He spoke probably one of the most powerful sermons I have ever heard, Dr. Duke. And this was right there on the county courthouse lawn.
Is there some place where your readers, our viewers, and people who are interested can access the actual footage of the rally?
Yes, if you go to at Church and State 1776, you will see uploaded footage. Caleb has some of his speech. I am actually today going to upload Reverend Cummings' speech, and we have the full entire link as far as the whole entire event there as well.
Good. We've got a couple minutes left. Tell me the talk that you gave. What was your topic, and how did it go over?
It went great. I started the whole event with prayer and with talking to the people there. Matt just handed me the mic and said, "Hey, while people are showing up, do you want to sing God Bless America?" So I sang God Bless America a cappella, yeah. And that was interesting. And then I literally spoke to the group there and said, right now is not a time of words, it's a time of action. And as a pastor, we rely on words quite a bit, but it is not a time of words right now. Duke, it is a time of action. We have to do something. And I said, this is not about Republican. This is not about Democrat. This is not about any ethnicity, white, black. It's not about any type of creed, or it is basically about the future of our children. I even looked at Matt and said, it's not about Matt Shea. And I looked at the sheriff and awkwardly said, it's not about the sheriff. I repeated that it is about our grandchildren, because what we're doing is we are essentially burying our talent and we are burying our future because of fear. And it was well received. Basically, the crowd is ready to do something. We cannot live in fear forever. And I likened it to, and we had a tent there, Abraham, when God was speaking to him, this is before he became Abraham, he said, come outside the tent, look at the stars, see all those stars, that's going to be your generations to come. And I said to the people out there, we have to get outside the tent. We can't let COVID keep us indoor. We have to get outside the tent and get back to life. Now, there's a risk involved, but the risk of losing our nation is far worse.
We've only got about a minute left in this segment, but I'd like to ask you, you talked, the title of the rally was Freedom is the Cure, and that's been a long-standing John Birch Society rallying point, right? And so can you, in about the 50 seconds we have left, talk a little bit about how this rally and your faith joins with Birch ideology? Talk a little bit about the role of the John Birch Society.
Well, first and foremost, the John Birch Society is about education. It's about educating people, and that's what the Bible is. It's a book. It's essentially basically a manual on how to survive life here on earth. It's a rough and bumpy life, and there's no way you can do it without education. So I'm about empowering people, and Freedom is the Cure is basically saying your decisions provide your cure. You have to be able to make mistakes and make wise decisions.
Gabe Blomgren, assistant pastor at Covenant Church in Spokane, Washington. Thanks for your time today. We really appreciate it.